What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for your NFL Week 9 review. You know what time it is. It's time for my reactions to the latest week in the NFL, my recap for week number 9, my rants about the current state of the NFL. That sounds good. Don't forget to give this video a Gronk spike. Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And Gronk spike the notification bell to be notified when I go live. This video, if you did not know, is live after Monday Night Football every single week. This is the NFL review, the bottom line, where I give you my unfiltered thoughts on the NFL every single week. Let's get to it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all the YouTube members who are supporting me. Shout out to all the patrons who are supporting me. And shout out to you guys that are watching this video. One shout out I must give is to follow the BLV TikTok. Been posting more on there lately. Some shorts and things, so make sure to check that out on TikTok. The link is at the top, the pinned comment at the top of the live comment section. The link is also in every video in the description, so make sure to follow the Bottom Line View on TikTok. All right, where do we begin? Other than Monday Night Football, we must begin at Monday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens beat the New Orleans Saints 27-13 in New Orleans. Once was thought to be an intimidating place to play in the NFL, a feared place to play in the NFL. It is no longer the home of Drew Brees. It is no longer the house that Sean Payton built. The Superdome is not the same. You fans, you Saints fans, can get as loud as you like. The Ravens silenced you on Monday Night Football. And why this is such a big deal to me is not because you weren't expected to lose this game. You were slight underdogs, only of 1.5 points at the end of the day. But this was, in my opinion, the game that would define the Saints season. This was the game. This was the turning point, or the potential turning point of the Saints season. This was the game that if the Saints were going to go on and win this division and make the playoffs, this was the game that they had to win. Simple. When you look at their schedule, when you look at this division, the Saints, not mathematically out of it by any means, but if they were going to make a run of this, this was a very crucial spot at home, Monday Night Football, prime time, versus a pretty good football team in the Baltimore Ravens to win it. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Now, credit and give a hand to Lamar Jackson. A little golf clap for him. Nice little action from Action Jackson himself. And a nice victory for the Baltimore Ravens, 27-13. The Ravens did not have Mark Andrews. They will not have Rashad Bateman for the rest of the year. And we're still able to put up 27 in this game. Isaiah Likely starts it off with a touchdown. Kenyon Drake pitches in with another touchdown. And he had another touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns. In this game, of course, Justin Tucker kicks a couple field goals, but really the Saints couldn't do anything offensively. This game was not about Lamar and the offense of the Ravens, although I was impressed with that offensive line for the Ravens, the way they were able to dictate the game. This is a football team that had the ball for 37 minutes in this game, and part of it was the inability of the Saints to move the ball and possess the ball in their own right. But if the Ravens are going to win games especially on the road. They're going to have to possess the football. They're going to have to dictate the line of scrimmage. They did that tonight. They dominated the line of scrimmage offensively. They weren't able to run all over the Saints at a yards per carry rate, but they just kept at it. They broke a few, right? Lamar Jackson had a couple. Kenyon Drake had a couple. They were able to hit a couple plays on the ground. And then a couple plays through the air. And really, their offensive line fully intact, fully healthy right now. Playing good football, protecting their quarterback. Lamar, of course, escapes a couple sacks. Defensively, I thought they were phenomenal at the line of scrimmage. They weren't able to get Alvin Kamara going early, were the Saints, and that was largely due to the Ravens' effort up front. New playmaking linebacker, Roquan Smith, who I wish played wide receiver, but nonetheless contributing to that defense. When I look at the Saints right now, I say, this is a football team that this was it. This was the game. And if I look at the Ravens, I say, well, these are 2 wins on the road in primetime spots, right? The Bucs last week and the Saints this week. Thursday and Monday Night Football, NFC South games. You went on the road, you won both. That is not easy to do no matter who you are, no matter who you're playing. That is not easy to do in the NFL, to play Thursday night, and then even though you've got 10-day rest, right, to come back on the road again and win another game on primetime, where the emotions are spiked and everybody's playing their hardest. Unfortunate, Deshaun Jackson, of course, had to leave this game, but I thought he was looking a little spry, a little young, a little quick, a little fast, a little twitchy early on. Young D-Jax out there made a play or two, but it doesn't look like he's going to be a solution. He looks to be the Julio Jones of the Ravens moving forwards. The Ravens defense, though, when I look at it, I feel like this defense has improved all year long. They've gotten better with each and every week. They're now getting healthier. They're healthier on the edges. Their pass rush is a lot more spry. They're getting, pressure from Justin Houston, the old timer. They're getting pressure from the return of Bowser. They're getting pressure from their interior. And now Roquan Smith adds that layer of speed to the second level. They got guys in the secondary who can play man coverage in the back end. Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. And this is a defense that I would say is going to be most improved, or one of the most improved units in the NFL by the time we get to the playoffs. So I look at the Ravens and I say, they're a second-tier team for me in the AFC. But really, I look at them and I say, they can beat anybody, but I feel like they could also lose to anybody in any given week, because they could play tough football, they could play physical football, but there are teams that are lesser than them, at the quarterback position, at other positions, that can hang around and even beat them. Teams like the Giants, for example. I even feel like a team like the Jets, the way they're playing right now, those type of teams that maybe have about the same record, but not the same expectations. I look at the Ravens and I say, if this team had a wide receiver, just one wide receiver, I would really give the Ravens an opportunity, a look at actually winning the AFC. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I feel like they've got it going right now offensively with their run game. I feel like Lamar is playing efficient football, consistent football. He makes plays, but he doesn't have that option at wide receiver to consistently rely on, and especially without Mark Andrews. If you had Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely as your third option, and an actual competent wide receiver one, I feel like you would be pretty okay there. And, you could play a style that could go up against the Bills or go up against the Chiefs. We've seen them do this before, and I feel like their defense continuing to improve the way they are, if they just had one competent threat at wide receiver, I'd really give them a shot at making it through the AFC. But I feel like once they hit January and they don't have even a Rashad Bateman, who they were hoping could become that guy, I just don't think they're going to consistently be able to win games in January without having a consistent wide receiver option on the perimeter, a guy that can get open, a guy that can separate. And give credit to the Ravens for managing this game. Lamar not turning the ball over, playing through their defense, playing through their special teams, playing the field position. It wasn't the most electrifying performance out there, But the Ravens just chipped away. And they came through with the victory. As for the Saints, I honestly think this was it. This was it. They are done. They are absolutely positively done. I do not see them making the playoffs this year, and I think they've got to really, really think about potentially putting themselves in a position to get a quarterback in the draft, because I don't think they're going to get anywhere in the future without a young quarterback. Jameis is not the answer, Saints fans, as much as you want him to be, and Andy Dalton sure as hell is not the answer. Okay? So, those are my thoughts on the overall vision and thoughts on the game. And it was kind of a dull, boring game. But that's my overall thoughts on both teams and what I saw tonight. Saints continue to struggle with the six-back offense, the running quarterback, the pistol formations on defense. I mean, there was guys on the edges there trying to contain Lamar that had no business trying to contain Lamar. And the Saints offense couldn't get anything going. The Ravens caused some turnovers, got some pressure, made it uncomfortable. Andy Dalton, when he had a chance to make a play down the field, couldn't make the throw, missed it by a yard or two every time. And that's a game of inches right there. That's the game of football. When you don't hit those plays when they're available, you're not going to win the game. It's that simple. Okay, let's move on to the next subject. And if you haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike the like button. Let's talk about the big news of the day. Okay? The big news of the day in the NFL was that Frank Reich was fired by the Indianapolis Colts. And this is the real exposure of what the Indianapolis Colts are, of what their franchise is, of who their owner is. Now, I'm not saying that Frank Reich was without blame. Don't get it twisted. Did he have a great season coaching this team? No. Could he fix the quarterback position? No. Could he fix the offensive line? No. None of those things went well this year. There's no doubt. Was there blame on him and fans were angry about his decision-making last year at times and him not being able to take this team to the playoffs and stuff like that last year? Sure. The Colts fan base was not the biggest fan lately of Frank Reich. But I've always been a Frank Reich fan. I like how Frank Reich coaches football, especially offense. I think the simple answer to why was Frank Reich fired has really nothing to do with Frank Reich as a coach. It really doesn't. When you sit back, you survey, and you say, what was the reason? The reason Frank Reich was fired, it's because he couldn't find a quarterback. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. He, who is not the general manager, Frank Reich, and we'll get to good old Chris Ballard in a second here. Frank Reich was not given a quarterback that actually could help him win at a consistent rate. They had Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was great. Andrew Luck was phenomenal. Andrew Luck was a generational talent in a way that Trevor Lawrence simply will never be. Okay? But Andrew Luck was beaten down by the time Frank Reich got there. Frank Reich had to deal with a season of Jacoby Brissett. And actually, he did better than people expected with Jacoby Brissett. I believe they were 7-9 that season. He gets Phillip Rivers after having Andrew Luck in a season where he has Andrew Luck. They go 12-4. They go to Kansas City in a game where a lot of people were picking the Colts in that game to win that game. They don't win the game, but they were a threat that year coming out of the AFC despite not an overly talented team. A solid one, but not an overly talented team. A year later, a more talented team arrives for Frank Reich, but he has an old, beaten down Phillip Rivers who couldn't do anything in San Diego his last year. I believe they were the Chargers at the time in San Diego, the Superchargers, not the LA Chargers that we see today. I believe they were San Diego. And Phillip Rivers couldn't do anything but throw interceptions. So he goes to Frank Reich, plays a lot better. They make the playoffs, and they nearly knock off the Buffalo Bills that season. They nearly do it. It was that close. And Frank Reich had a great game plan, and they really coached well in that game, I thought. The year after that is the Carson Wentz season. We're now seeing what Carson Wentz really is. He can't even beat out Taylor Heineken of the Washington Commanders. So I guess we're supposed to blame Carson Wentz struggles on Frank Reich? I guess so. This season, he's got, again, for the third straight year, an old quarterback who is not what he used to be, who's not athletic, who can't move, who doesn't have a very good arm, who, again, beaten down by the NFL game. Carson Wentz's body beat down. Not old, but beat down. And his brain's a little off too. Matt Ryan can't even throw the football anymore. And Phillip Rivers, we knew that they were managing him. As smart as he was at the time, he really couldn't throw very well. So he hasn't had a quarterback. As big of those names have been billboard material. Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz. None of them were good. None of them were good. What were the Colts winning off of? Offensive scheme, strong offensive line play, run game, everything that is not the quarterback on offense, and then sound defense. That's what they were winning based on. And a lot of that was due to Frank Reich, which at one time I called Frank Reich, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I thought he was the most underrated coach in the NFL at one point. Did not get enough credit for what he was doing with those quarterbacks. Now, what happened to this team this year? Why is Frank Reich gone? Not only did he not solve the quarterback position, and again, I'm saying that he didn't solve it, but it's not really his fault because the general manager is Chris Ballard, not Frank Reich. Okay, but what happened to this quarterback position? Matt Ryan was supposed to be the answer. He was supposed to be an upgrade. I thought he would be an upgrade. I thought he would. I'm not even going to sit here and say that I thought Matt Ryan was going to be terrible this year. In fact, he was terrible. There's no doubt about it. Couldn't move, couldn't escape pressure, couldn't throw the ball with any velocity, couldn't help himself but take stupid sacks and throw the ball to the other team. Matt Ryan was really bad. Sam Ehlinger was not the answer either. If you watched him against the Patriots, you know that to be true. He's not as athletic as he's been billed to be. He's certainly more of a backup. He's very young. He's nowhere close to being a starting quarterback. And whether that was Frank Reich's decision to put him in or not, I'm not sure. I don't think it was. But why was he forced to put him in? Because their offensive line. The highest paid offensive line in football, right? The highest paid offensive line in football. Can't protect. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything. Their offensive line is in shambles this year, and it doesn't really matter who's at quarterback. That quarterback was going to struggle. And it doesn't matter who's calling plays. Those plays are not going to be executed. Who has built this offensive line? Who has built this highest paid offensive line in football? The guy's name is Chris Ballard. Chris Ballard, more than anybody, is responsible for the firing of Frank Reich. Now, it's understood that Chris Ballard wanted Josh McDaniels when he was hired. That was his first choice. His second choice was Frank Reich. So Chris Ballard was never truly wanting Frank Reich, right? He was his second choice. He was the sloppy seconds, right? Now, Chris Ballard, for some reason, is never blamed for any sort of fault of the Indianapolis Colts. Chris Ballard, at one point, marveled at for being the best GM in football. He can't do any wrong. He doesn't do anything wrong. He drafts so well. He picks up the right free agents. He makes a trade. Wow, Chris Ballard's the best. Isn't he just fantastic, guys? Chris Ballard, the best GM in the game. That's at least what everybody was telling us, right? Chris Ballard is still in the building. The GM is the guy with the little voice in the ear of the owner, you know? Chris Ballard, he's sitting next to that owner watching the game every week. Chris Ballard in the press box saying, oh, you know, we need a new coach. This team, I drafted this team. This team's really talented. He's telling that to the owner, right? We need a different coach in there. Get these guys going. Again, not without blame is Frank Reich, but I don't think Frank Reich is a bad football coach. I believe he'll get back on his feet. I believe he'll go somewhere else. I believe he'll be successful. I do. Chris Ballard has built easily the most overrated roster in football from an offensive standpoint. You look at this offensive line, you paid this type of money to this offensive line. This offensive line is an absolute disaster. They're terrible. The individual pieces are not even playing well. And my problem with Chris Ballard is his drafts, he picks good players at the wrong positions. The guy's best picks have been linebackers and guard. Think about it for a second. He's never gotten a quarterback. He's picked one good receiver. Oh, and running back. Running back. Wow. So he picked a good running back, he picked a good linebacker, and he picked a good guard. Think about that for a second. Which positions are the most valuable positions in football? It certainly isn't guard, running back, and linebacker, guys. It's certainly not linebacker, guard, and running back. Tight end, wide receiver, quarterback, tackle. Hasn't solved tackle. Anthony Costanzo was there before him. He hasn't solved left tackle in 3 years. Okay? Defensive end. Hasn't really solved defensive end that well. They've always kind of gotten by. DeForest Buckner is a monster. That was a good trade. No doubt about it. Good trade. But you did have to give up a first-round pick for an interior defensive lineman. Another super valuable position. Linebacker, running back, guard, and interior defensive line. That's how you win Super Bowls in the modern NFL. Not quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, tackle, defensive end, or corner. What has he done at corner? Basically taken old veterans and plugged them in the system. And he's lucky that's worked out for him for the most part. So, to me, Chris Ballard, he was once thought as the best GM in football. I mean, highest paid offensive line, complete joke, complete frauds, terrible left tackle, nothing there. And I just don't understand how all this blame was put on the coach when he was given Matt Ryan, Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, and Carson Wentz. Matt Ryan was so bad that they actually replaced him with a 6th-round rookie named Sam Ehlinger. Carson Wentz, so bad that Washington signed up for another season of Taylor Heineken. Jacoby Brissett, my boy, I love him. Okay? Backup. So they haven't been able to get a quarterback. Whose fault is that? Coach or general manager? They haven't been able to get a left tackle. Whose fault is that? I guess it's Frank Reich's. I guess it is. Now, they brought in and hired a legend of this game. And I'm not going to sit here and be all ESPN, Fox Sports, Twitter, those young idiot TikTokers. I'm not going to sit here and say Jeff Saturday can't coach. I'm not going to sit here and say Jeff Saturday knows nothing about football. Quite frankly, Jeff Saturday is one of the smartest football players that's ever lived, so I'm not going to say that. Now, has Jeff Saturday done anything coaching-wise? No. In fact, he went 3-7 in 2020 in high school. So, yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Jeff Saturday can't coach because I have no idea. I like Jeff Saturday. I respect him as a player. He's pretty smart. Played a lot of years with Peyton Manning. Probably knows something about offensive line. He's a Hall of Famer. Probably knows something about offense in general. I would think he knows something about football. Maybe. I don't know. Centers are pretty smart. You know, a lot of people look at quarterbacks and say, like, that's the position you want as a coach, as Frank Reich was. Centers are interesting too. But I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a joke. The owner's a joke. The owner's a disaster. The owner's an egomaniac. And I just feel like this situation of the Colts this year, it just showed you what this organization is from the top. There's a cancer brewing at the top of the organization. And I feel bad for the fans. Because this owner is the problem. The owner is the problem. He's giving power to this general manager who sucks. And that general manager can't find the most important position and doesn't really have any testicles. Chris Ballard has 0 testicles. When's the last time he went out and actually made a big-time signing? When's the last time he went out and traded up in the draft and was aggressive and got his guy? He's going to have to do that now or else he's gone too. So, good luck. Next, we've got to talk about Josh McDaniels. I know. On my picks video, I said if the Raiders do not win against Jacksonville, I will quit. I will quit the Raiders. I will quit the Raiders this season. And unfortunately, I am a man of my word. I must stick to my word. I must follow through. I will no longer be selecting or picking the Las Vegas Raiders to win any football games for the remainder of the 2022 NFL season. I said it on the pick show. I'm done with the Raiders for 2022. And it's really sad. The Raiders, coming into the year, I thought that they would be a good football team. I really did. This is a football team that hasn't been able to close games. This is a football team that's gained leads, looked dominant, and been unable to secure them. This has been a team that's lost close games. This has been a team that's been unlucky when last year they were extremely lucky. This was a very fraudulent playoff team last year. They were a lot of fun, but they were very fraudulent. They were. And I think we see that now. Because I'm not going to put all the blame on Josh McDaniels. It's not all his fault. Some of it is his fault because a lot of Raiders fans, some are realistic, some are not. Some want his head, some don't. Raiders fans are actually quite savvy. There is a growing sense that the guy to go this offseason is Derek Carr, which sucks to say because I love Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr a lot. I thought he was phenomenal last year. I thought he was great the year before that. But he has not played well at all this year. He really hasn't. And you could say that's McDaniels' fault because he played well last year and the change in system really hurt him. And that's probably true. I mean, you just watch this guy and he's missing reads. He's throwing inaccurate passes. He's not exactly great under pressure. He's not stepping up in the biggest moments this year the way he was in the past, and especially last year. You put last year's Derek Carr on this Raiders team, and they're a winning team right now. He's had a few nice moments this year, but that's about it, man. Derek Carr, he might be the guy to go because it looks like the Raiders are going to give McDaniels another year because everybody keeps saying like McDaniels is going to be fired, McDaniels is going to be fired, it's going to be a one and done for him. Now maybe if they lose the rest of the games this season, it'll be a one and done for him. But it does feel like the Raiders are going to be coached by McDaniels next year, at least from the front office of the Raiders and the ownership of the Raiders. And I think that's a fair call. And this is why. The Raiders are not there yet in terms of what Josh wants them to be, right? He's gotten a lot out of a very, very, very suspect offensive line. I feel like he's gotten a lot out of that offensive line. Their receiving core, other than Adams, who's been great, Renfrow is really disappointed this year. He's not the same player. He's not playing the same. He's not separating. He's not playing with quickness. Mac Hollins, who's like a career journeyman, is their second or third receiver. And Darren Waller's been injured. And they extended Darren Waller. So their offense, when you really look at it from a passing game standpoint, pretty like undermanned right now. They really got one weapon on the field that's playing well. Run game's been good. There's only so much you can do running the ball in the NFL today. Defensively, they just don't have it. I mean, they don't have the players. I think they made it. At this point, you can firmly say that was a bad signing. The Chandler Jones signing, I will admit that's a bad signing. I love Chandler Jones, great player. I think he's a borderline Hall of Fame talent for his career. But bad signing. He has not produced. When you look at this team, this defensive line, they can't get a consistent pass rush. They can't get close to the quarterback. The only player that can get to the quarterback is Max Crosby right now. Chandler Jones had one good game against the Chiefs. That was it. Otherwise, he has not played well. Max Crosby's been an absolute demon once again. He's a phenomenal football player. The rest of their D-line cannot get to the quarterback. Linebacker position is just okay. Safeties consistently make mistakes. Deron Harmon's actually played really good at his age this year. But Morig and Abram are inconsistent. Corners consistently get beat. Consistently. I thought they would play better. And they're just slow. You watch this defense, they're slow. They don't pursue the football with any speed. They can't track down mobile quarterbacks. They lose containment because they're not athletic enough. They can't run with fast players in the secondary. They're just slow. They're slow. And really, when you look at this team, it comes down to they haven't been able to finish games. They haven't been able to get stops when they need the stops at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. They're up 17-0 twice this season, I believe. 20-0 once, maybe. 17-0. And their defense can't close the door. I mean, when you really think about this team, when you think about the Raiders, right? Coming into the year, what would be the ideal game script? You get up and your pass rush gets to the quarterback. Like, that's what we were talking about before the season. So when you think of it from like a team building standpoint, I mean, McDaniels is coaching well enough to get the lead. And then once they get that lead, that defense is not coming through with the plays, the turnovers, the forced mistakes, the punts even, to get that win. And then when the game becomes close, and once there's pressure put on Derek Carr and company on offense, they have not been able to come through clutch in those situations. So, like, it's hard to really say what that is, other than just they don't have all the pieces in place. Especially not having Darren Waller has really hurt this team. The offense, when they're forced to pass protect consistently, the offensive line is not very good. They're just not individually that talented, and we knew this. That's why early in the game they're a lot better, because they stay balanced. They can operate out of that. But you have a 17-0 lead. Your defense should be able to win the game for you when you designed your defense to be able to do so. Crosby and Chandler Jones. That was why you paid those guys. And they haven't been coming through, right? And they haven't been able to get creative enough on defense. You have to seriously look at the coaching on defense to say, why aren't they getting stops in these situations? As well as the talent. Now, I think it's more talent on defense than anything else. And I think the offense is a bit of a quarterback that doesn't quite fit in this system. I mean, you look at Derek Carr right now, and Derek Carr is dealing with that issue that he was dealing with a little bit earlier in his career, where he's consistently just looking to get rid of the ball too fast. There's plays that you see on film after they lose these games. There's guys running open. There's plays to be had, and he's not looking to those guys for those plays. There was a play against Jacksonville where a guy's running a deep go, basically, or fade down the left sidelines, and he's wide open, and Carr just looks to the left and throws it to the running back right away. Instead of, looking down the field first and then short to the back. How it's taught traditionally. Derek Carr just gets it right to the running back instead of looking down the field for that big play, which he would have had for a touchdown in the win of the game. So there's a lot of blame to go around. McDaniels hasn't been able to get this team in those fourth quarters to win these games. The defense is not performing well enough, and the areas that they've wanted them to perform on defense, not playing well, that pass rush, they're just slow. But what I will say is, I would like to see one more season of McDaniels with the Raiders, because I think if he can get more players on his team in the roles that he wants and craft this team the way that he wants, because it's only been one season. It's only been one offseason. So hard to go from one complete different approach to one alternative approach from one side of the spectrum to the other in one offseason, especially when you consider that this team has been really without any draft picks. Gruden and Mayock were terrible drafting. I mean, terrible, like putrid. Guys, go back and look at those drafts. Putrid. So when you're a new coach coming into this Raiders organization, and yeah, you have good players in place, foundational pieces, but you don't have a lot of depth. You don't have a lot of guys that you can count on that are in this system that can play in your system. So now you can find those guys that have performed, and you can go elsewhere and find the guys that can perform and get some of these younger players in the mix. So to me, I'd like to see one more year and one more offseason to see what this team can do. And I'm really, really intrigued to see if Derek Carr will be the future of this program with McDaniels, because it does appear that McDaniels will be staying and Carr will be going. Question is, where will Carr be headed to? That's another question entirely. Okay, so that's my Raiders thoughts. Let's say hello to the people in the chat real quick. What's going on, T. Anthony? What's going on, Jeremy? What's going on, Big Nate? What's going on, Miles? Tobias? What's going on, Hector? What's up, Ashton? Dylan, what's going on, man? Big Al, how's it going? Mike Frost, how you doing, dude? M Baller, thank you so much for the $1.99. He says Colts get what they deserve for ruining luck. Hatter's House, what's going on, bro? Miss Harley Quinn, shout out to you. Jamari, what's up, bro? Caesar, thanks for joining. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you do. Gronk, spike the like button. Lenny says, I don't trust McDaniels to figure it out at this point, but I acknowledge he could next year. Dylan says, sup, what's up, Dylan? Gino is the GOAT, he says. We'll talk about a little bit about Gino coming up here. But first, we must discuss the often imitated New England Patriots. We just brought up the Las Vegas Raiders and what they're trying to do in Vegas. Of course, they are trying to be the do-your-job New England Patriots. Now, I just laugh. I sit here and I laugh at you fools. You're a bunch of fools. Every single one of you. The Patriot haters, the Bill Belichick deniers, the Patriot fan base, for that matter. Half of you are drunk. Half of you are drunk, high, or both. I don't know. But I sit here and I laugh. I laugh at you Patriot fools. Now, I had an exchange on Twitter with a guy that I respect his analysis, so I'm not going to go crazy on him here, but I'm going to show you our little conversation on Twitter. Just a couple brief exchange here on the Twitter machine, okay? Let's take a look at that. His name is Josh Norris. He is Underdog fantasy analyst. So he's a fantasy analyst. Okay, keep that in mind. He tweeted this. Okay. He tweeted, the Patriots passing offense is so much worse than it was last season. Nothing is clicking series to series. And great defense, special teams, Ramondre has masked that over the last 2 weeks. And he puts in brackets, wins. He's not wrong about any of this. He's not wrong about a single word that he said here. So I'm not trying to act like he's wrong. Okay, he's not wrong. But I responded. I said, and they won 26-3. They struggled with the Colts defense last year as well, which is a fact. Look it up. It was one of their worst offensive games last year. If you guys recall that game, it was on a Thursday night later in the season. They struggled to move the ball in that game. They won this game 26-3. Keep that in mind. Josh says, it's okay to draw criticism from a game that they won, especially because it's been a consistent issue. I said, sure, but this game was expected to be a defensive struggle with a total under 40. The total was like 38.5, 39. And I said they played it pretty conservatively, understanding the other team couldn't move the ball. At least I thought they did. And he says, but it's been an issue all season. Okay, that's our exchange. Respect Josh Norris, does good work on Underdog Fantasy. That's why you guys got to sign up. Use the promo code BLV, cheap plug. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, right? So I have this exchange. This is what analysts and most fans don't understand about Bill Belichick, and they don't understand about the New England Patriots, and they have not for 20 years. And I sit here, I've seen all these Patriot games. Bill Belichick doesn't care about stats. Bill Belichick doesn't care about how many passing yards the team has. Bill Belichick doesn't care about how many rushing yards the team has. Bill Belichick doesn't care about stats. He He doesn't care about yards. He doesn't care about completions. He doesn't care about your fantasy points. He could give a fuck. He doesn't care, okay? What Bill Belichick cares about, analysts out there, get this through your thick skulls, okay? What Bill Belichick cares about is winning the game. So when entering the game, playing the Indianapolis Colts, how do you win and how do you lose? How do you win and how do you lose playing the Indianapolis Colts with Sam Ehlinger? The game is in Gillette Stadium. The total is 39. 39 is a low total in the NFL. 20-19 would be the expected score. Okay? How do you lose? It's what Belichick asks himself before the game every single week. What does he ask himself? How do you lose this game? And how do you avoid losing this game? We drop back. We throw the ball all over the yard. We force all these deep throws. We get sacked. We fumble. The team runs it back for a touchdown. We force passes over the middle of the field that get picked off. How do you avoid losing the game? You try to put up all these numbers on offense against a very good defense. How were the Colts and Sam Ehlinger going to beat the Patriots on Sunday? Think about it. How are they actually realistically going to beat the Patriots? They would have had to have 2 to 3 turnovers. They would have tried, maybe they had a kick return, maybe they had a interception return. What have the Patriots struggled with? Turnovers. They lead the NFL in turnovers this year on offense. They lead the NFL in turnovers. How are they going to lose this game? It was evident after the first drive of the game how they were going to lose the game. The only way was going to be if their offense messed the game up. So, the game plan was simply to not turn the ball over. Mac Jones took literally 0 chances, which was good on Mac Jones. He managed the game. I know that's a dirty word in the NFL. Mac Jones managed the game. 20 for 30. Okay. Didn't even throw for 200 yards, but he didn't throw a pick. He didn't fumble. He threw it away. What were we asking of Mac Jones? Manage the game, make smart decisions. That's what we were asking of Mac Jones, right? That's what we were asking of Mac Jones. So he doesn't care about your fantasy team. He just doesn't. He wants to win the game. The Patriots defense was going to win the game. The Patriots defense won the game. They had 9 sacks. They had a pick 6. They had a punt block. Bill Belichick didn't care if they were going to win the game 13-0. Quite frankly, they probably could have won the game 13-0. They end up winning 26-3. He's perfectly fine with winning with defense. He's perfectly fine with winning with special teams. The offense of the Patriots did not need to participate in the game, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't participate. They ran the ball. They threw it when they needed to. And it's not even like their offense, they still scored 26 points at the end of the day, and I understand some of that came off of defense and special teams. But look at the Colts defense this year. Colts defense is easily a top 10 unit. The Colts defense shut down the Chiefs this year. Colts defense ain't that bad. How are you going to lose this game? DeForest Buckner, Stephon Gilmore. That's how you're going to lose this game. So that's what I want you to understand about my perspective about the Patriots. Because I view the Patriots in the same lens that Bill Belichick views the Patriots. Because I understand as a fan what the strengths and the weaknesses of my football team are. My strengths and my weaknesses. My strength is my defense. My strength is my special teams. My strength is my running game. And right now, quite frankly, my weakness is my offensive line, pass protecting. My weakness is the passing game because we can't protect the quarterback. Okay? That's how I view my team. Mac Jones, credit to you. Didn't throw a pick. That's all you had to do, bro. That's all you had to do. It's not... Here's the thing. The Patriots did not aggressively attack down the field because Mac didn't want to. It's because they didn't need to. The Patriots didn't go out there with the goal to throw up 40 points. Because with that goal also comes the potential risk with your weaknesses of the offensive line right now of losing the game. So that's why they played the way they played. They played it conservatively. And they won the game by 23 points. They won the game 26-3. They covered the spread of 6 points. Okay? By 17 points. They covered the spread by 17 points. They won 26-3. They could have won by more, but they didn't really try to. Okay? So, that being said, Pats fans, shut up. But Mitch, we won by only 5 points against the Jets. Mitch, we only won by 5 against the Jets. The Jets just beat the Bills. In fact, we scored more points than the Bills did against the Jets. So, how does that work? In the same stadium, on the road, last week. But Mitch, we only beat the Colts by 23. Our offense sucks. Mitch, they suck. They can't score. But the Colts are the same team that beat the Chiefs. And in fact, I think we scored more points against the Colts than the Chiefs did. How does that work? But Mitch, sit your ass down. Patriots won the game. They dominated the game. And at the end of the day, all that matters is the W, bro. Sit your ass down. Don't butt Mitch me. The Bills, less points against the Jets. Chiefs, less points against the Colts. And you want to say our offense is bad, it's a problem. Well, then why'd we score more points than those two teams? Why'd we win those games? This is football, not fantasy football. You win the game. Sit down. Here's the thing. I keep telling everybody the Patriots are going to the playoffs, but nobody believes me. Nobody believes me. I sit here and I say, Patriots are going to the playoffs. Patriots are going to the playoffs. Everybody just laughs. I literally sit here every week and I say, don't be surprised if the Patriots go to Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. But it's crazy for me to say that because I'm a Patriots fan and I'm biased. We just saw a team without a quarterback go to overtime against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Come on! Malik Willis! Like, come on! What are we talking about here? I'm done with this. Everybody's like, the AFC is so tough. The AFC's got the Bills and it's got the Chiefs. Nobody else can win it. Nobody else. The Chiefs and the Bills, they're unbeatable. It's like we got the damn 78 Steelers. No. The Chiefs just beat a team by 3 with their quarterback attempting 68 passes against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans didn't get a first down for 40 minutes, and they almost won the game. With Malik Willis, who doesn't know how to throw the ball away. And you want to say that it's impossible to go to Arrowhead and win. You want to say that to me. And then we witness the New York Jets. The New York Jets, who Patriots fans were making fun of the Patriots. Patriots fans were making fun of the Patriots for only beating the Jets by 5 on the road. On the road. And the Jets the next week beat the Bills at home. Take your Buffalo Bills, take your Kansas City Chiefs, and shove it. The AFC is wide open. The AFC is wide open. These teams are not superior godlike creatures. Shove it. Any team can beat these teams. If the Colts and the Jets and the Malik Willis Titans can play these teams, then anybody can play these fucking teams. I don't care. Sidebar. Can we admit that Mike Vrabel is a good coach now? Can we admit that? Can we admit that Mike Vrabel is a good coach? Can we admit, analytical community, PFF, that Mike Vrabel's better than Matt LaFleur? Can we admit that now? Are we allowed? Fucking Matt LaFleur. Bum ass. Okay. Another thing I am very upset about. Stop sleeping on the Seahawks. How many weeks are going to go by that we're going to just still be asleep? When does your alarm go off? When does the alarm go off for the Seahawks? Wake up. Geno Smith is that dude. Pete Carroll is that old man. Kenneth Walker is that rookie. They had a hell of a draft class. Their defense is fast as fuck. The Bucks are favored. The Bucks, who suck ass, are favored in Germany over the Seahawks. And I don't even want to bet the game, but I might have to. I don't want to bet. I don't want to bet against the Bucks because I don't like betting against the Bucks because I cheer for Brady. But I might have to. The Seahawks are good. Stop with this garbage. What makes any other team so superior to the Seahawks? They run the ball really well. They protect the quarterback really well. Geno Smith is really accurate. Geno Smith doesn't turn the ball over. They've got a freak show at wide receiver who can bench press Lenny's entire high school offensive line and Tyler Lockett. And then they've got 2 tight ends. And they've got a defense that can stop the run better than anybody. They've got a bunch of young ballers in the secondary. Tariq Woolen. What do the Seahawks not? I don't even like the Seahawks. Stop. Wake your fucking ass up. You've got an alarm for a reason. Set it. They're underdogs against the Cardinals, which was a joke. They just beat the Cardinals 2 weeks before by 10 points. And now they're underdogs against the Bucks. The Bucks suck, bro. Come on, man. God. The Bucks are terrible. We're going to favor the Bucks. Ugh. Okay. Now, shout out to Perc Cousins. Yes, not Kirk Cousins, Perc Cousins. That's his new name. The Vikings win again. Another W for the Vikings. I continue to deny the greatness of Perc. The greatness that is Cousins at the 1 p.m. Eastern Standard time slot. He is unbeatable. Unbeatable at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very difficult to beat. Vikings 6-0 in one-scored games. Do you like that? Vikings again. Also, did anyone else see the ref totally jack up the safety from getting an interception? Did anyone else see that play? The Vikings guy was trying to pick the ball off, and the ref just gave him the angle slam mid-play. You see that? Next. Okay. We've got to talk about the Miami Dolphins defense. Because as far as I'm concerned, the Miami Dolphins, everybody loves the Dolphins. Oh, the Dolphins, they're so good. The Dolphins, they've got this electrifying offense. Tuanon is standing on their feet, applauding. So good. They're so good. My goodness. They're going to go to the AFC Championship. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're in the same breath as the top contenders. They're everybody's favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, the same Dolphins that won against the Bears because of a punt block, that won against the Lions by 4, that won against the Steelers by 6. And they didn't score that many points in the Steelers game. The Dolphins, what is up with their defense? I don't care how good their offense is. If they don't fix that defense, they're frauds. The Finns are frauds if they don't fix that defense. They got ran all over. They made Justin Fields look like Michael Vick. They made Justin Fields look like Madden 04 Michael Vick. I mean, my goodness. Guys, that was bad. Did anyone else see that? Credit to Justin Fields, talented guy, but goodness me. Look at this. Bro, everybody is going crazy about Justin Fields. The guy had 17 of 28 for 123 yards. The Dolphins defense sucks. They allowed 10 for 16 on third down. 10 for 16? They allowed 252 rushing yards. What are they doing? What are they doing? Last week, they got lit up by the Lions. The Lions! A Lions team that barely scored any points against the Packers, and the Packers defense is ass. What is going on with the Dolphins? Okay, anyways. Everyone can keep loving that team. You guys go ahead. Okay. Let's talk about Tom Brady's comeback against the Rams. I know that's why half of you people are here anyways. So, I just want to say this. Every quarterback needs to study Tom Brady in 2-minute situations. I don't care who you are. Every quarterback needs to study Tom Brady in 2-minute situations. There's never been anybody better in 2-minute comeback, last second, last minute situations than Tom Brady. And it's not because he has the best arm of all time. It's not because he's the gift from God of a specimen. It's not because he can run all over the place. It's because Tom Brady always makes the right decision with the football, and he knows how to play in these situations. He executes in these situations, and he always puts his team in the best situation to succeed. He doesn't throw the meaningless pass that's going to get them nowhere. He knows he's got to throw the deep comeback, the out route. He knows that if he throws this check down here, that he can pick up 10 yards and get out of bounds because the defense is so far off. He'll take his shots when he needs to strategically. If you watch a Tom Brady 2-minute drive, it's almost always the perfect decisions. Sometimes they don't go through and they don't get touchdowns, they don't get field goals, they don't result in, the win or whatever, because you can't do it every single time. But if you watch Tom Brady in those situations, there's never been anybody better at executing and making the right decision where the ball needs to go in those situations. It's classic Tom Brady, and that's what makes Tom Brady, guys. This is what Tom Brady is. People don't understand me when I say Tom Brady wins games that other great quarterbacks just would not win. This is a game where Tom Brady's offense didn't do anything the whole game. They were in a defensive game. The other offense struggled. And everyone else, all these other wannabe, moron, idiot analysts will say, well, that was because of the defense. That's why they won. No! Other quarterbacks don't get up for this moment at the end of the game like Tom Brady does. He literally wills his team to the win. Why is this a thing? Aaron Rodgers would never do this. Never. We saw it in the Lions game. Guys, this is what Tom Brady is. This is what makes Tom Brady, Tom Brady. Even when it's bleak, even when there's no hope, even when it looks terrible, worthless, nonsensical, garbage, trash, Tom Brady still fights. He still puts it out there. And he dies on the sword. There's other quarterbacks that never did that and won't do that. They give up. That's why Tom Brady's the GOAT. Because he's the mentally toughest. He's got the heart of a champion. That's why he's the GOAT. You've got Aaron Rodgers. Why does Aaron Rodgers never come back? He gives up. He's got no heart. Tom Brady's got the mental toughness. He wants to win more than you want to win. Even at 45, when everyone says you should retire, when everyone says your wife left you, what do you got to play for? Why'd you leave your family? He wants to win. He plays for the love of it. He wants to win the game. Aaron Rodgers against the Lions, same situation. No fight, no drive, no heart, no passion. So you can throw the ball as cool as you want to throw it, but it doesn't matter if you got no heart. It's the intangibles. The intangibles. That's why he's the GOAT. Also, Eric Eager, a man named Eric Eager, was extremely eager to make a play caller list this offseason. He's formerly of PFF. Eric Eager made a top 5 offensive play callers in the NFL list this offseason. Now, the list starts off. At number 1, you got Andy Reid. Okay, that's fine. I can accept that. Although I don't know how much of it is Pat Mahomes, but I can accept it. Number 2, Kellen Moore. Okay. Not exactly who I would have thought. I don't even think he'd be in my top 5. But okay. Number 3, Byron Leftwich. Are you kidding me? Does anybody watch Byron Leftwich and say, oh, that guy has an amazing scheme. That guy is a wizard of a play caller. That guy puts together the greatest offense you have seen. Top 3. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan at number 4. Byron Leftwich is the worst coach in the NFL, guys. I'm sorry. I think Byron Leftwich is a great guy. I think Byron Leftwich seems like a very nice fellow. This guy's the worst coach in the league. The worst. There's none worse. He is the worst coach in the league. The worst. Why is he the worst? Okay. The execution of the offense is putrid. You have Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, an all-pro right tackle, a very good right guard, a pretty darn good left tackle. That should be enough to have competent offense, especially with Tom Brady at the helm with his brain, at least putting things out there, and still the ability to rip the ball all over the field. You should be able to coach an offense. The reason he's the worst coach, the offense has zero rhythm, zero detail. What is Tom Brady? Tom Brady is a precision accuracy passer. This offense has no precision. It has no detail. It has no effort. There's no detail. The run game is pathetic. It's the worst in NFL history. And what does this guy proceed to do? And I'm not exaggerating. It's literally the worst in NFL history. 6 out of 8 plays runs on a drive. Are you kidding me? How many times are you going to run the ball on first down? Up the middle. Byron, find more than 3 runs. Please. Please. The only time the team actually consistently moves the ball is in 2 minutes. Why? Because Tom Brady's calling the plays. The offense is literally better when the quarterback is calling the plays. They're so undisciplined. They take stupid fucking penalties. It's poorly designed. There's no detail. There's no creativity. There's no motion. It's pathetic. And then we have the Los Angeles Rams. Oh my God. Don't even get me started, the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are dead. They fucking suck. They are so bad. And everyone wants to blame the talent. Bro, Sean McVay is not that dude anymore. Like, Sean McVay, he won his ring. He went to Cabo. He got married. He had probably a few too many alcoholic beverages. Sean McVay is not doing his thing this year. I mean, he is not in the elite category. Like, what happened to the Sean McVay that loved to run and play action the ball? Where's the play action in this offense? It doesn't exist. The Rams are so far removed from what made Sean McVay a special coach with Jared Goff that elevated their offense, that elevated their offensive line. There's no creativity. There's no layers. There's no, like, new stuff. Everybody knows what McVay is going to do. He's going to run these screen plays. He's going to run jet sweep for no fucking reason. He's going to put a special teams gunner at fullback. He's going to give the ball to the fourth best running back on the team. He's going to spam Cooper Kupp. And the drop back passing game isn't even good with one of the 5 best drop back passers in the NFL. And he's trying to be this drop back passing team with a horrendous offensive line. I just think McVay has gone on vacation. Like, I honestly think I'm calling the guy out. I don't think he's working as hard as he used to work. His team doesn't look the same. They don't play with the same level. Are they not as good? Clearly. They're not as good. They're not as talented. The offensive line isn't as good. He doesn't have an OBJ to bail his ass out on third down. He doesn't have a great Von Miller defense. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have all those great players, Hall of Famers, okay? But I don't see any improvement from week to week. I don't see any creativity from week to week. I don't see any difference here. All I see is stupid screens. That's all I see. I don't see any of the Sean McVay that made Sean McVay. Where is Sean McVay from 2018? Where's Sean McVay from 2017? Where did he go? The Rams need him back because he's not there anymore. The Rams suck. There's no chance they're making the playoffs. They're terrible. Terrible. Cryptic Ninja, thank you for just joining the chat, brother. He says, I'm a Bucks fan. Whoever said Leftwich is top 3 needs to be launched in the sun. I'm just so happy we beat the Rams. Yes, the Bucks beating the Rams was a nice consolation. I do agree. But it's not the same Rams team. There is a point that Mike is making here. Mike Frost. He says his message no longer resonates. That is possible. I just really think the guy won the Super Bowl and just, like, decided to hang it up early. I really do. I think he's kind of just, he doesn't have the same drive. Because I don't see any effort anymore. I don't see this guy improving. Like, he used to always evolve. He used to always be more creative, push the buttons, push it forward, get new shit. The guy's got no new shit, just shit. That's all he's got. Okay. Let's finish this show. Allow us to finish with a prayer. Join me in our prayer about the Green Bay Packers. Okay? Here we go. To the Lambeau, the Favre, and the Vince Lombardi, God, please have mercy on the Packers. A once historic franchise that has lost its way. Oh God, oh heavenly God, please have mercy on Aaron Rodgers. A beaten man. A man that has already resorted to psychedelics to simply stay sane. Please protect Aaron Rodgers. And please, may the fans of Green Bay, the cheeseheads, as they call them, please experience a talented wide receiver one more day in the future. Just one. Please, God. They need it. And as for Matt LaFleur, as he looks up at you, God, and he proceeds to quite possibly do the most impressive thing that I have ever seen in my life as a football fan, God, and he raises his left arm, and he raises his right arm, and he proceeds to wave them in an upward trajectory to pump the crowd up at Lambeau Field against the Dallas Cowboys while his team is taking the field. And Matt LaFleur proceeds to take his left arm and his right arm and wave it up and pump up the crowd. Please, please, God, fire his ass. Thank you. To the Lambeau, the Favre, and the Vince Lombardis. Amen. Amen. Pray for the Packers. All right. Thank you for watching the Week 9 NFL review on the Bottom Line View. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to Gronk spike the like button. But before you go, oh, it's time to start the love affair, baby Mad Hatter. Ask your questions. If you have any questions about anything, ask any questions. I'm willing to stick around for a few minutes if you have any NFL questions. They aren't going to fire Matt LaFleur, but they should. Dylan says, great stream, Mitch. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Will the Lions reach 7 wins? Without looking at their schedule, very unlikely. I doubt it, but let me check the schedule. I think I had them winning 5 games this year before the season started. I'd probably say they're still on pace for that. Play the Bears twice. Could win one of those maybe. They play the G-Men and the Bills. They'll probably lose both those games. They could beat the Jags. They could beat the Panthers.
Jets are going to be tough, but I think they might be able to beat the Jets. I'm going to say they win, about 5 games. 5 games makes sense to me. I think they'll win 3 more. That's probably my projection. I talked about the Raiders bolt up. I talked about the Raiders. Chargers aren't much better, though, unfortunately, bolt up. Lenny B says, if the Eagles traded for Lamar and canned Hurts and a couple firsts, would they not be Super Bowl favorites? Oof. I don't know if I'd be willing to do that, though. I mean, yeah, they would, but you'd have to go through... That would be next year, though, because the trade deadline's passed. Maybe in the offseason. I wouldn't be willing to do that in the middle of the year, because you'd have to get Lamar caught up to your whole offense and stuff like that. But, yeah, they would be, probably, yeah. Did you talk about Jeff Saturday? Yes, I did early in the video, yeah. Just a little bit, not a ton. I talked about Jeff Saturday. I mostly talked about Chris Ballard. Mike says that Niners sweep the second half. I don't know about that, but I do think they're going to go on a bit of a run. Patriots have a tough schedule moving forward. Yeah. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, though. Hatter's House. See you, man. Thanks for joining. Good night. Big Al says, don't forget to Gronk spike the like button and notification bell. Plus, subscribe and become a member. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you Wednesday for Mitch's picks. Good night, y'all. See ya, Big Al. What's my ranking of Super Bowl favorites? I like the Niners, Bills, Chiefs, Eagles. Who's 5th? Bengals or Ravens, maybe? Vikings? I don't know. That's tough. Cowboys are 5th. Do the Finns have a shot to win the division if Allen is out for a while? If he's out for a while, yeah. I think so. I don't know how long he's out, though. Niners versus Chiefs rematch for the Super Bowl. It could happen. Would I predict it to happen? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'd predict the Bills still. Would you draft a quarterback if you're the Panthers? If you get first pick, yeah, probably. But I haven't really looked into the quarterbacks, honestly. Do you see a scenario where Tampa Bay wins out from here? No. I don't. I just don't think they're that good. I do think that they'll make the playoffs, though. I do think they'll win the division. Tyreek Hill is crazy no matter what QB he has. Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the league. And if anyone thinks otherwise, they're an idiot. I'm sorry. The one player that nobody is bringing up for MVP is Tyreek Hill. I don't understand how he cannot be in that conversation. Yeah, I know, Cryptic. I know. Lions Mania says, thoughts on Jared Goff? I think he is meh. I've never been a big Jared Goff. I've never been a big Jared Goff guy, even when he went to the Super Bowl. I've always thought he was below average. I think he's like a serviceable quarterback, but I think you need a really good team around him to be successful, like was in LA. I think otherwise, he's a guy that's kind of like a bridge. I think he's always been a bridge quarterback for the Lions, personally. I think they've always had the intention of moving on from him at some point. But I think that's going to be this offseason. He isn't bad. Thoughts on the Jags' long-term future with T-Law? The Jags have low-key, they could have a good team, like a talented team next year. Like, they've got a talented team already. Trevor Lawrence, I don't see it mentally with him. Like, I think they'll be a team that can make it every now and again. like inconsistently make the playoffs and stuff. If Doug Peterson's there and stuff, like I think they've got a solid infrastructure. Where should OBJ go? Where should he go? If I was him, where would I go? Oh boy. If I was him, I think I'd go to Buffalo. If I was him. But he could go to Dallas. He could go. I don't think he would want to go. If I was him too, I would think about going to the Giants. I really would. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but that would be really, really cool for his career, I think. I would think about going there. Where else? Tampa, I would think about it, but like maybe you just team up with Brady next year. Dallas would be a place I'd think about it. The Chiefs, I don't think are really on the table because they picked up Tony. And I think there's a lot of receivers there, honestly, now. So that's kind of tough. Niners, I definitely want to go there, but like it would be, you're like the fifth target there. Packers, I wouldn't go to. Packers. Thank you, Mike. Lions Mania has the Lions winning 5 games. Don't see them beating the Giants, the Jets, and don't see them beating the Bills or Chicago. Yeah, I agree. I think 5 games makes sense. I agree with that. The Ravens, yeah, but they're not like a pass-heavy team either, so that would depend on Odell. I mean, it's going to depend on what he thinks fits his game the best. I don't think he cares too much about money. I think he still just wants to win. I don't know, though. Shut up, Lenny. I think that answer is obviously Shanahan. Obviously. And you can clip that. Would you be shocked if the Vikings beat the Bills this week? No. I wasn't shocked when the Jets beat the Bills. I won't be shocked if the Vikings beat the Bills. The Vikings are a good team. What about OBJ to the Seahawks? Unlikely. Unlikely. I think the Patriots are more likely than the Seahawks. I think the Packers would only be possible if they just pay him an absurd amount of money. John Chapman. Who is that? John Chapman. Let me look him up. Have you ever hit him up? John Chapman. Hold on. I'm looking into some collabs, though. I'm definitely way more open now to doing collabs. It looks like he does a lot of film stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to doing something. The biggest clown of the NFL season goes to Ultra. Have you done a collab with Dose of Dion? I have. Yeah, he's a good guy. All right. Have I ever actually done a collab with him? I'm not sure about that, but I talked to him. Like, I know him. He knows me. We talk to each other. I don't know if I've actually ever done a video. Maybe like a couple years ago. We'll have to do one soon, though. I haven't talked to him in a while. Lenny B. Lenny B's on a podcast on the BLV. If you're a YouTube member, a patron, you can catch Lenny B on the BLV vs. Consensus podcast where he wears his high school football ring and his big-ass Niners jacket. Cryptic Ninja says Aaron really looks like he doesn't want to be out there, to be honest. Tom Brady, even though he is losing games and his team aren't playing that good, he still looks like he wants to be there and play. Yeah, I mean, Brady's also looked a little kind of like pissed a lot this year, but as of late, Brady does seem a lot more like upbeat. Does Rodgers want to retire? I think he wants to get traded. And if I were him, I would as well. I don't think he's as bad as he's playing. Not even close. Tony! I like the Falcons. Give me a break. Mahomes or Allen? I prefer Mahomes. I prefer Allen. But the way I wanted to answer this is I prefer Allen, but I think Mahomes is playing better right now. If that makes sense. Tony says all of you youngsters think you are experts in the game of football, and you're not. You are really not. That's exactly how he wanted me to say it. Lions Mania says, what about OBJ to the Chargers? Yeah, that would make sense, but if I were OBJ, I would never want to play for that football team. I'm sorry. Mitch likes the Falcons better than Ultra does. Yes, that is true. Ultra is a Georgia Bulldog fan, not a Falcon fan. All right, anything else, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Wednesday is picks. Tomorrow is power rankings. And probably some shorts. Okay, that is it. Appreciate you guys watching. Gronk, spike the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace, guys.